This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Football a la Turca, where we will be covering matchday 26 of the Turkish Super League this season. Perhaps the last matchday, we don't know yet. It doesn't look like it right now, of course, we're recording this in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. We don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but unfortunately it's an unavoidable subject. We know that, of course, people want to listen to a podcast to escape from that kind of stuff, but it's playing a big role in the football world right now. So we will have to speak about it. My name is Kaan Bayezid. I am joined today by Jakub Marufolu, who's joining us from the Netherlands, and Umut Nadiri, who has just traveled back to Turkey. He's not locked into Boris Johnson's let the disease just spread United Kingdom. Umut, how does it feel to be back home, so to speak?
Well, it's quite unfortunate to hear what he said about the incident, because even my dad, who is a doctor, said that's not even a solution, because even if you recover from the disease,
Mm-hmm.
it can retake you again, but because it doesn't always have the immunity on you.
Yeah.
So
usually you become immune to a virus once you've had it, but it hasn't been proven that if that is the case with the coronavirus. So
because it's been mutating again and again, time after time. So when I was in my university, in my dormitory room, we heard some news about some guy or a girl. They didn't give the name out to us, but just a mail came to us and said there is a case in the campus, so beware.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the hell? Yeah, and then a video gone out viral in Instagram. Some hazard suit men cleaning and disinfecting the kitchen, and the kitchen is a common room which all the flatmates use together. They were spraying all over the place, and I was scared at first. And 2 days later they announced that the case has been increased to 3. Where the hell am I living now? Whoa. Then
well, it's basically like the flu too. Of course, every season we have a new flu season, and the flu is a virus. But people seem to get that again and again, and it's because, of course, every season there's a new form of the flu. It's not the same one. You do become immune, but the next season there's just a different mutation. Obviously, we aren't doctors, but as you said, your dad is a doctor. My dearly beloved is a lab technician, so she deals with the kind of stuff every day on a daily basis. In fact, she is not today, but they have different posts in their job, of course. But she's dealing with the potential corona samples to check whether somebody has corona or not, stuff like that. So it's something I'm definitely being brought in contact with every day. Hearing about what kind of stuff is, and it's a lot. I'm not allowed to disclose anything, but the numbers that actually test positive is relatively small. But it's aggressive. It spreads quickly. Jakub, Holland, what are they doing? What's happening there? No lockdown, as far as I understand.
No, currently there's no lockdown. the Prime Minister Mark Rutte went on TV a couple of days ago. I think it was 2 days ago, and pretty much everyone, expected the country to lock down, since all the neighboring countries, Germany, Belgium, France, are all in lockdown. But the Dutch have a way of being really aloof with everything.
Yeah, they're doing something similar to the UK, right? They're doing the whole herd protecting mentality, so to speak. Let the healthy people, the young viral people get it, so that the disease stops spreading once they grow immune. So as a shield, as a barrier, I believe that's the type of phrasing Mark Rutte used against the virus. It's this is exactly what they did in the Middle Ages with the Black Plague.
Oh my god!
That worked out
And with
very
the
well.
Ebola as well, no?
I don't know about Ebola, but it's very, very weird. I don't know what the right solution is, but anyway, let's talk a little bit about football. Of course, in this tumultuous situation we are in right now, some big decisions came out today. UEFA had a big meeting with all 55 affiliated football associations, and they came to the decision to move Euro 2020 to the summer of 2021. The Euros will be played between June 11th and July 11th in 2021. Good news for Turkey, I would say, with all the big injuries that Turkey have. Meri Demiral, of course, Cenk Tosun. We have a couple more big injuries, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely not bad news in that regard for Turkey. But it's going to be weird not having
Yusuf
Euros.
Yazıcı, huh?
Yeah, Yusuf. Exactly. We have how many players do we have on long-term injury list? Is that just those three?
Doğukan, I think, but no, Doğukan is about to return.
Ozan Kabak.
No,
Ozan was just short-term, right? That was only
Don't know,
I mean, the biggest one is just Meri.
Yeah.
And
Yazıcı.
Yusuf
And some kind Abdul Kadir Ömür as well, no?
No, he's back. He already played like 2 games.
Yeah, but you said he was injured again.
No, it was supposedly the a different foot, and it was more of a precautionary change than it was like a big injury. So there isn't anything wrong with it.
As Özer asked in Twitter, what will happen to the contracts as they end during the first day of June, and as the games were postponed, what will happen to those contracts? Are they players will be just let go of the team?
Well, I don't know if you remember a couple of seasons ago, for some reason, I don't recall the reason exactly, but we had to play past the 31st of May, and there was no issue. I don't remember what the reason was, but I do recall thinking, oh, wait, the contracts end on the 31st of May. What happens to those players that are free agents then? But that went by without a hitch. Obviously now, depending on if the league gets delayed or something, maybe we'll have a longer pause, and then, I mean, if we're speaking about, let's say, a month, that's not a big deal. But if we're speaking about 3-4 months, that's obviously a big difference.
And what will happen to the World Cup as well? Because in the 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that will be a World Cup.
In the winter in January, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess that's not being moved as of now.
Winter? How?
Well, it's the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, and they're moving that to the winter in January. That's the plan, if I'm not mistaken. So
it'll be postponing just the winter after the Euros.
Winter after the Euros, so basically 6 months after the Euros.
What the hell? It's
yeah, but
the games were going to be. The games are going to be played in the winter anyways, because Qatar is really hot in the summer, and you can't have them play in July or even a little bit earlier.
It was 45, 50 degrees Celsius. So
so the official website says 21st of November till the 18th of December, and I remember a lot of people wondering out loud what the football federations were going to do, since it's just about during the winter break, But it seems that we are going to have like a
Well,
precursor to it, with the Euros being all whacked up at the moment.
mhm.
So
Yeah, it's going to be
kind of interesting.
an interesting year for sure in football. Turkey, the last league standing, so to speak. Every league across Europe has now shut down. They have been paused. There's no clarity yet on what they are going to do. Are they going to just cancel the season, crown a champion, don't crown a champion? That's not been decided. It's not clear yet. Turkey, however, still going. In fact, we had a match tonight, a makeup match from match day 21. Between Göztepe and Çaykur Rizespor, and of course this weekend we had all of the matchday 26 fixtures. One player in particular wasn't too happy with having to play under these conditions of the coronavirus, John Obi Mikel. He made a statement on Instagram during the weekend, outing his frustrations, understandably so. And then today, shockingly, we got the news that his contract with Trabzonspor has been terminated due to mutual understanding between the club and the player. Obviously, he played on the weekend against Başakşehir. Big loss for Trabzonspor. Mikel had been an important figure. He had a slow start, but he had really grown into the team, became a key component. Jakub, how do you see this affecting Trabzonspor going further in the last 8 match days, if we get to see those, of course?
It's just like a dumb move overall. I don't know what the reason is. If the reason really is that he thought that it wasn't safe to play with Corona going around the whole world, and from what I've heard from different sources, one of the sources says that because of the virus going around, he has been a little bit unmotivated, and he has been a little bit moaning and complaining it during training, and all doesn't want this to spread to the other players, and they mutually agreed to let him go. The other one that I've heard is that he has been living in Turkey without his family. For us, as far as I know, his family is in London, and he went to his manager and told him, like, listen, dude, I really need to be with my family right now. They are pretty scared. I'm pretty scared. And they went to the board, and the board said, sure, you did what you have to do. We will agree to make you happy. So it's a little bit unknown, depending on what you want to believe and we want to believe what really happened. It's unfair to see that a lot of so-called fans are, trying to say that he wasn't any good at all, because I think that he was one of the better players in the league when he was in form. He really started the league in a bad way, but especially the last couple of weeks, our midfield has been not that good, and every time that he played, you could at least have the confidence that defensively we would be okay. I don't know what we're going to do now. With him gone, I don't know if how many more matches Ndiaye and Sosa can play concurrently. I think that Abdulkadir Parmak is going to get into the squad once again. I don't know if that's a good decision, but it's probably the decision that we have to make. So we'll see. Let's hope.
Yeah, and both those situations seem plausible, and they can go hand in hand. I could definitely see him wanting to be with his family, and of course not being happy in training. So it's potentially, just both stories could be true. I don't think that you can fault Obi Mikel for this. It's very understandable. This is a very weird situation that nobody from our generation has ever. I don't think any generation really. I don't remember a pandemic like this in the last 100 years. Obviously, we had, like I said before, like stuff like the Black Plague and such. But this is really an unseen situation, and for young people, the virus isn't that harmful, supposedly. Although there are people who are having some severe pneumonia as a result of the virus, even people in their 30s and such. But those cases are relatively rare. But it's, of course, the loved ones. If we all have maybe an uncle or a dad, a mother, a grandfather, a grandmother who has health conditions, and maybe it's not so much an issue for you yourself, but if you have it and you pass it on to them, it might be fatal for them. And obviously, footballers are also just people, just human beings. They have the same fears and worries that any other person has. So I don't think you can condemn Obi Mikkel for this, and I also think it's a very human a decision that should be respected from the club if it is something they did upon the request of the player, as long as it's not something like, oh, this guy is just moping around, just get the F out, as long as it's not something like that, it's not an ego thing where, the Bashkan is flexing his muscles, so to speak, which I don't think it is, by the way, then I think this is a very human decision that should be respected from both ends, with Trabzonspor for letting a crucial player go in a potential league-winning season, and of course the player who is rightfully worried about his family and loved ones, who should always come in the first place.
I mean, if it's really because the league, isn't postponed, I think the TFF should really be held accountable for this. If it's really just because they want to have like an extra match week, the conspiracy theories all over are like, okay, well, wait until Trabzonspor drops points and somebody else becomes number one, and then they'll postpone or cancel the league and declare whoever's first the leader. I think that's a little bit too far, but it's just so annoying to see that something like this could be easily prevented by saying like, okay, we're going to act sensible and just postpone a goddamn league.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just a break. Even if you just say, look, 2 weeks, we're going to assess the situation, how things progress in the next 2 weeks. And, probably things are going to get worse before they get better in this kind of situation. But, there's the least they could do. Just pause it for a couple of weeks. Let's get our bearings. Let's see what the situation is like. Are there any infected players? Stuff like that. Because who knows, maybe like we're seeing in Italy right now, where we had a player in Juventus that was infected, and he infected a bunch of other players, and now there's loads of players are infected right now. 35% of the total staff of Valencia in Spain is infected. So it's not just the fact that it's unsafe for fans; it's also for the players themselves. So it's. I'm not a fan of the league continuing, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's quickly talk about the Europa League. That's the one match that was still played with spectators. Başakşehir on Thursday against Copenhagen. Ironically, I think probably the first time they ever sold out their stadium right before the ban for fans, so to speak. No more fans in the stadiums allowed after that. Başakşehir winning 1-0 through an Edin Visca penalty in the 88th minute, giving them, of course, a good position going into the second leg, if that leg ever gets played. That was, of course, supposed to take place this week. On Thursday, it was on the 19th. It's scheduled to take place, but obviously UEFA announced that they would postpone indefinitely all Champions and Europa League matches. They also did announce today that the Champions League and Europa League finals will be played at the end of June, if I'm not mistaken. So they are still planning on going forward with the tournament. We'll have to wait and see what the specifics on that are going to be. But nevertheless, great result for Başakşehir. We have to talk a little bit about football. It feels a little weird, but it is a great result for them. They could have probably scored one or two more. But at the end of the day, they keep a clean sheet. They score an important, crucial goal, and they are going into that potential second leg, if it ever gets played, with an advantage, 1-0 advantage, guys. What did any of you catch this game?
Nah.
How about you?
I actually just forgot about it because I thought it would be delayed.
Yeah. Okay. I actually did watch the match. It was interesting to see Başakşehir here with a full stadium. Although for these European matches we often
Also,
see.
I just caught the last like 15 minutes of the game where Edin Visca took the penalty, and
Yeah.
I witnessed also the stadium was also full, and how Istanbul population just supported Başakşehir in a European game,
Yeah.
and I think it's because of the how Okan Buruk's mentality came up to this point, and how did he put his team and programmed his team to win these kind of hard games.
But we have seen this in the past as well with Başakşehir's European matches, that Beşiktaş, Galatasaray, Fenerbahçe fans also go to the stadium to support Başakşehir in Europe. Something that we used to see a lot of in European matches in the past too, where the Üç or Dört Büyükler fans would go to each other's matches, at least on the road. But we're seeing less of that, I think, nowadays. Maybe also because the fans are trying to keep the tickets exclusively for their own fans, which is understandable. Why do I keep putting this?
Also, last time you were criticizing why Başakşehir gave penalty to Edin Visca to take, because you weren't actually comfortable enough for him to be composed enough to take a penalty that late at the stage of the game, which will define the winner team.
Yeah, I stand by that. I would still go with Dembaba.
He took it pretty well, actually, because I'm against that point.
Yeah, but this wasn't a penalty with massive pressure on it. This was not a penalty that could... this wasn't the same thing as the one he missed against Olympiacos, I think. I still think you should let Dembaba take these types of penalties. But, Edin Visca as the captain, he has scored his last two crucial penalties like this, so it's understandable they continue to let him take it. But if it was up to me, I would always let Dembaba take it. He is a proven goal scorer from the spot. He is able to keep a cool head in the dying minutes, as he proved against Tottenham for Beşiktaş.
Was it this game that Dembaba just missed a goal just by 1 meter of the line, where Robinho crossed it?
Yeah, that was this game. He also won the penalty, by the way.
Yeah, and Robinho just made an impact just after he gets subbed in, but after that he was just invisible on the field. I don't know what he's doing.
But you say he missed it. I mean, it was a hard low cross, and he just couldn't get his foot on
I think
it.
Robinho just intended to shoot there, and he missed by quite a lot in the end.
Maybe. Anyway, great result for Başakşehir. Let's get into the Super League quickly. Two really big matches at the top of the table, important matches at the top of the table, of course, both ending in draws. Trabzonspor Başakşehir did not see a winner, and Galatasaray Beşiktaş did not see a winner. Trabzon Başakşehir ending 1-1, Galatasaray Beşiktaş ending 0-0, and I really think in both cases it's the lack of a home crowd that probably played a big factor here in there not being a winner. Let's get to the league leaders, the joint league leaders first. Jakub, how much of an impact do you see the lack of a crowd have on this match? Do you think that Trabzonspor would have won it with a crowd?
I mean, I don't know. We were really abysmal. I don't know if you can all, try to explain that on the crowd not being there. But obviously, the crowd, the Trabzonspor fans are really passionate. So it would have made a difference. But I don't know if it would have made a big difference. It was a weird game to watch. As Turkish people, we're probably like one of the people that are most used to watching games without supporters, because fans tend to do dumb stuff and they tend to get the club fined to play without fans. So it wasn't anything new, but it once again just maybe it's the environment nowadays, the panic, the everything, that this game was a little bit too weird for me. It was unbelievable to watch a game and just hear the players, and you hear the coaches talk, and hear just general stuff. So it was kind of weird. Wasn't, in my opinion, one of the greater games to watch. I know that a couple people say that it was a good game, but in my opinion, it was a pretty boring game. Um, Başakşehir was the better one. Trabzonspor didn't do really much. I think that we still rely too much on individual qualities, and I think that a lot of teams have just figured out. Charlotte has been without a goal for a couple of weeks now. And I think that teams have figured out that if you just put a guy on him that marks him pretty much whole game, and just keep pressing on him, that not a lot happens. And midfield, that I have been saying it for a while. The midfield is horrible. Um, I think he started with Abdülkadir Parmak. I'm not sure of the squad anymore. And then he subbed in Ndiaye, and then we have the issue with Abdülkadir Ömür still not, getting back to his old form, and picking a little injury, which apparently isn't anything big. I don't know. It wasn't a great game. It was really annoying to watch. It started to piss me off for numerous reasons, and I was hoping kinda that the league was going to be suspended so the teams could at least catch their breath. But apparently we're not doing that. So let's hope that Trabzonspor is actually going to play as we are used to them playing this year.
Yeah, it's not happening right now, but of course everything can change quickly in a matter of hours. On Thursday, we still thought that the matches would be played with fans this weekend, and suddenly that changed. So we never know. Maybe tomorrow or the day after the league gets postponed. But you said Başakşehir was the better side in this match. Do you think that the 1-1 draw was a just scoreline, or do you think that Başakşehir deserved to win?
I mean, Başakşehir just came to the goal once and they scored. Trabzonspor game didn't really go to the goal, but they got lucky with a Skirtel own goal. I think draw is an accurate end, but we definitely got lucky.
Yeah, and how about you, Umut? What did you feel about the Galatasaray Beşiktaş match? Do you feel that if Galatasaray had their home crowd with them, the fans could have screamed them forward enough to edge that one goal in, maybe?
Let me say one thing, because one guy in TV made a point about that. That without the crowd, without the spectators or the audience, how do you call it, the fans, the game is quite boring, and in the end, there's no end product. So we had the one of the worst weeks of the season. We lack goals. Every game ending 0-0 or 1-1.
Or 1-0, yeah. Lots of 1-0s. Saturday,
I don't
ended 1-0, I think.
Yeah, today only happened 2 goals by Göztepe. And I don't remember any other games with more than 1 goals. Do you have?
No, I don't. I think, 1-1s, of course,
No. Just more than 1 goal for one side.
Let me just quickly go over it. I don't think so. 1-1, 0-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 2-0. Kasımpaşa Göztepe. And then Ankara Gücü Rizespor 2-1. And Kayseri Malatya 2-1.
Yeah, it's not too many goals in a game,
Yeah,
so,
for sure, yeah.
So we can directly say that there's a direct correlation with the fans and the quality of the game. I don't relate the quality of the game by the goals scored, but the end product is also important. So I can tell that it's that we call in Turkish kısır week.
It definitely has an impact, undoubtedly. But looking at the match, looking at how both teams performed, do you think that Galatasaray would have had that extra edge necessary to beat Beşiktaş on the day if they had their home crowd behind them?
Yeah, definitely, because that's what happens during the derbies. That's why they are called derbies, because the crowd is so, energetic and on your side that it motivates the team, the players, even though they are doing bad in a situation, and they demotivate the others, like bullying, so it's quite important. And I remember the other uncrowded Beşiktaş Galatasaray derby back in 2007, if you remember it. It was due to the incident happened in Sulu Derby in 19th of May 2007. Galatasaray was given a 5-game home ban that they'll have without a crowd. So no fans allowed during these games. And it was the last game of those punishment games we had in the season of 2007 and 2008, and it ended 2-1. Galatasaray won, and as I remember that game, I saw Rodrigo Teo's great volley against us by Serdar Özkan's assist, and it happened. So it was the first goal Orkun Usak conceded that season. It was in the 7th week or something, so he kept a clean sheet for 7 weeks, and Rodrigo Teo ended it. So this is the second uncrowded derby we can have for Galatasaray and Beşiktaş history, and it was quite boring in the end. Like, Galatasaray tried to play how they played against Sivasspor and Fenerbahçe, but because of the demotivation and the slow pace of the game, Galatasaray couldn't find a gap. And I like how Beşiktaş defended as well, because even I suspected that Tyler Boyd was so,
Yeah, he was basically man-marking Marcelo Saracchi throughout the match.
Yeah, he was so energetic in the defense, and he was running, and I've seen him a couple of times intervening, intercepting the ball and clearing it at the end, helping Gökhan Gönül a lot. And I'm pretty sure that if that was Diaby down there at the start of the game, Gökhan Gönül would have a really hard time against Henry Onyekuru.
But
I
don't even think that Gökhan faced Onyekuru much, because Onyekuru was playing more as a second forward, trying to dip into the spaces. But that barely happened throughout the match, and that's something we saw against Fenerbahçe, where Galatasaray kept hurting Fener with Onyekuru's pace, and I think that happened once, maybe twice in this match.
Because I think Galatasaray had a different shape than the other games. Like, if you see the graphic of the overall positions of the game, you see that Galatasaray actually played like a 3-5-2, where Mario Lemina lies between the center backs, and Marcelo Saracchi and Mariano lies just on the flanks as a winger, not just a wing back. So, and Henry Onyekuru, as you stated, as a secondary striker. So, Henry Onyekuru as well. So, find it a similar chance he had against Fenerbahçe. Again, he just find a through ball, but as he's finishing is terrible as these games, he couldn't score any of these without just passing the keeper, rounding the keeper. And it was the same this game again. As he missed against Altay, he missed against Karius as well. Twice, actually, because he was denied from... It was a goal line clearance as the Karius's, punch went short, and it came to the Onyekuru's foot, and he also missed down there too. And yeah, it was quite a boring game to watch, because there was no chanting. It was all silence. We could hear all the talks being talked during on the field. Like, you can just hear Burak and Caner talking with the referee. I just suspected just Caner talking with assistant. Hey, this ball is not quite, with the air. Can I change the ref? Like he was kind and all. Like I was just like, wow, is this Caner talking? Yeah.
Okay, well, it was a boring match in regards of that. Maybe there were some chances, not a lot. I think, pretty even in terms of opportunities. Do you think 0-0 was an accurate reflection of this match, or did you think that one of two sides deserved a win, perhaps?
No, because as we're talking, without the same circumstances of the game, which is without the fans, Beşiktaş defended really well, and they didn't attack too much, to be honest, because the only shot I think they had was the Enkudu's position against Muslera, just on the inside of the 6-yard box.
And they had a goal disallowed too.
Yeah, Burak Yılmaz just went by the defensive line a bit too early, and I don't know if he intended to shoot down there or it was a close miss.
I think it was a cross.
Are you sure? And
I don't know.
Did you see how Muslera was badly positioned in that?
Yeah. I was really surprised.
What he's doing. It was Burak Yılmaz at the ball, so
maybe it was. They know each other really well. Maybe he did it on purpose. It looked like a cross.
Every time he talks about Burak, he states that the most difficult player he has faced in the Turkish leagues is Burak Yılmaz. He played with him. He played against him too many times, so they both know each other really well, and he know his quality. So I don't know, maybe he thought he was just crossing the if it was a goal, it was the same thing happened to Fenerbahçe down in the Bursaspor's title race. He scored an amazing goal against Fenerbahçe in the last fixture of the.
That was really a cross from the wings. This was in the box at least.
I think it was the day that started Burak Yılmaz's rise. With a unintended goal.
Yeah, that was when he just left Fenerbahçe as well, I think. 6 months before that, or something like that. Anyway, so 0-0, the correct reflection. Then I guess you would say.
Yeah.
What did you think of the tactical plan from both coaches? Did Fatih Terim have a good tactical plan against Beşiktaş, or do you think Sergen had his number?
Sergen defended really well, and there's one position that you can see Beşiktaş's defensive line involves like 7 players at the same time, like a line with 7 players defending Galatasaray. It was really weird to see how defensive mindset Beşiktaş has during Galatasaray attacks. But I think it was the intention of Sergen Yalçın to just pull out a goal.
I think it's what you have to do, though, with all the moving parts that Galatasaray have now with Saracchi and Onyekuru.
And also,
you have to be very aware of those penetrating runs. And
also I can say that Galatasaray tried to do the passing game they had against Fenerbahçe, but Burak and Enkudu's running around defending on the final third of Galatasaray's pitch really affected that, and Muslera couldn't manage to pass it to Donk or Mario Lemina multiple times, so he just kicked it away, and that disrupted Galatasaray's build-up too many times. And I will say in the midfield, I was thinking that Belhanda should be playing really well without the fans booing him. But he was terrible.
Maybe he needs that. Maybe he needs the hate.
He was terrible, and he didn't contribute to the build-up. He misplaced too many passes, and so the second half of the game, Ömer Bayram went in, and he was quite better than how Belhanda did, and he also found some shots and free kicks that found some chances for Galatasaray, but Falcao as well was really ineffective, and I don't know how Fatih Terim makes it. One day Adem Büyük was playing, and suddenly Adem Büyük was disappeared, and not even a second option. And Florandone comes in for the games, and how Fatih Terim made the substitutions too late really, you know, angered me, stressed me, because he just waited until the 80th minute to make his second change, and he just put Andone in for the 90 plus 1. What do you expect for man to make just in 3 minutes?
Yeah, true. Maybe one lucky ball hoping on that, I guess. There's a point I wanted to make, but I forgot where I was. Oh, yeah, right. So, but basically with Falcao, of course, he has been acting as a really good lightning rod for Onyekuru, but Besiktas were pretty effective in neutralizing the Onyekuru threat. I really only had the feeling that I really throughout the match I was certain Galatasaray was going to score, but the only way I could see them score was a set piece, and I really felt like they were going to score on either a free kick or a corner or something like that, because that's really what the only real danger that Galatasaray managed to create, except for 2 maybe opportunities for Onyekuru. I think everything came from set pieces, pretty much all the danger for Galatasaray. And also, I think Besiktas had a couple of opportunities on set pieces too. One with Atiba, I think, where he headed it straight at.
I saw how dangerous Caner took the corner kicks that game. Like he curved it inside the 6-yard box. Yeah. I never seen Muslera punching the ball that many times in a game. Like he's not intended to like punch because his priority is like just handle it first, So it's not secure for Muslera to just punch the ball. But this time, because of Caner's like hard balls in, Muslera had to do it to avoid the danger Besiktas has, and I was just like. Scared of his balls, but no.
That's what she said.
Stop it. Okay, and but his crosses from the left side during the open play wasn't quite accurate, though. He and Marcelo Saracchi as well. He was lacking the quality of the crosses as well, and Mariano was not in his day, so.
Yeah, for sure. Let's move on. Of course, no man overboard with that loss of points for Galatasaray because, like we spoke about before, Trabzonspor and Başakşehir played to a draw. So the difference at the top of the table between the numbers 1 and 2, who are both on 53 points, and Galatasaray remains just 3 points. Galatasaray still faces both Trabzonspor and Başakşehir. Başakşehir away, Trabzonspor at home. So they have their fate in their own hands. Galatasaray, in theory, if they win everything, they would still be the champions. But, of course, that same theory counts for Başakşehir and Trabzonspor. Huh? Well, actually, no, it only counts for Trabzonspor. Because if Trabzonspor win everything and Başakşehir win everything, Trabzonspor will be champions, most likely based on goal differential. But you never know, maybe there's an odd 8-0 in there or something for Başakşehir to get them over the edge. Anyway, let's move forward then to those other matches in those positions for Europe. We had Alanya. Is this right? Sorry, we had Antalyaspor taking on Sivasspor yesterday, Monday. And Sivasspor lost in Antalya, so they are letting up the pressure. They had the opportunity to come within 1 point of the league leaders, but due to this loss, they remain on 49 points, so they are now 4 points off from the 2 league leaders. That's not a good deal for them. And of course, Antalyaspor, with that win, they are pretty much guaranteed to remain in the Super League for next season with that. Although you never know, it can go quickly at the bottom of the table, as we will get to in a little bit. And then probably one of the biggest surprises of the match day, Konyaspor beating Fenerbahce 1-0. I think if it had been with a crowd, we would all have said, okay, we can see that. Konyaspor need to win, need the points with their crowd, 20,000 plus behind them. We could definitely see them get a win against Fenerbahce, especially with Bülent Korkmaz at the helm now. But without fans, I think we probably wouldn't have given them too many chances, but Fenerbahce proving again that they are just in a really down period right now. Just everything can go wrong, is going wrong for them at the minute, and they lose against Konyaspor. Konyaspor, with that win, get themselves some breathing space at the bottom of the table, which we will get to later in the standings, but a very crucial and important win for Konyaspor, the first win for them under Bülent Korkmaz, and of course it comes against Fenerbahce. That's a little bit of irony, I would suppose. And let's move on to the next one then. In the middle of the table, Denizlispor beat Gençlerbirliği 1-0, which also means pretty much safety for Denizlispor, who had been slipping in recent weeks, but they have now won back-to-back matches, if I'm not mistaken. Really good result there for Bülent Uygun, who we have been heckling on several occasions, but, no, we can't argue with the results here. He has pretty much guaranteed Denizlispor Super League football next season, if there will be a Super League next season. Okay, sorry. And then another one. Go ahead.
Did you see the Rodega goal though?
I did, yeah.
It was like from Boston back against the Soviet Union, but such an unbelievable kick.
And it's funny because he had a good start to the season, and then he has been dry for goals. He's been on a goal drought for months, it feels like. And he scores a really good one and important one for Denizlispor here. Let's move over to the relegation zone. This is where it gets interesting, I would say. Kasımpaşa with a 2-0 win over Göztepe. Ankaragücü with a 2-1 win over Çaykur Rizespor. That one in particular is important because Rizespor now drop into the relegation zone. And Kayserispor 2-1 win over Malatyaspor. But Malatyaspor stay above the drop-off zone based on goal differential right now. So if we look at the bottom of the table at the moment, I'm going to go over the final three. We have Rizespor at 25 points, Ankaragücü at 23 points, and Kayserispor at 22 points. And then we have just a couple of teams from 12th to 15. We have Gençlerbirliği on 28, so they are 3 points above the relegation zone right now. They seemed safe only a couple of weeks ago, but they have not won in a few weeks, I guess. So that's immediately, it's mainly those bottom teams just winning a lot. And then Kasımpaşa now are out of the relegation zone with their win. They are on 26 points, level with Konyaspor, also on 26, and Malatya are on 25. So Malatyaspor just out of the relegation zone based on goal differential. Konya and Kasımpaşa just a point above the relegation zone. It's really an exciting battle in the relegation zone between, let's just see, 7 teams that realistically could still relegate. Even Antalyaspor aren't out of the woods yet completely. They are on 30 points, so they're 5 points above the drop-off zone, but with the way they have been playing and have been getting the results, you would imagine they aren't going to go down. But in theory, numbers 9 to 11, which are Gaziantep, Denizlispor, and Antalyaspor, who have respectively 32, 31, and 30 points, they could all still go down. And then, of course, we have Göztepe in 8th position with 37 points, so they are definitely safe from relegation. But European football seems pretty much impossible for them at this point, unless we get some European bans or something. Fenerbahce are in 7th with 40 points. That's going to be tough for them too, as Beşiktaş, who are in 5th place, have 44 points, and 6th place Alanyaspor have 43 points. And let's look at the top 4. We have Trabzonspor and Başakşehir here sharing the number 1 spot, so to speak, with 53 points. Of course, Trabzonspor are in 1st position based on goal differential. Head-to-head is the same, as they played to 2 draws this season. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jakub. So that means that it would go down to goal differential, and based on that, if the league would end today, Trabzonspor would be champions. And then, of course, in 3rd position, we have Galatasaray at 50 and Sivasspor in 4th on 49. So Beşiktaş need to close a 5-point gap on Sivasspor, and Sivasspor have the head-to-head. So Beşiktaş would basically have to close a 6-point gap on Sivasspor to guarantee European football next season. Of course, if Trabzonspor ends up winning the Turkish Cup and ends in the top 4, that European ticket would go to the 5th place team. So the race for 5th, which is mainly between Beşiktaş, Alanya and Fenerbahçe, still is interesting for Europe next season. But Fenerbahçe with a 4-point deficit there, and given their current form, they haven't won in 7 games. It's looking grim for them. I basically went over the standings here already, guys. There's not really too much I want to spend time on, but is there anything this weekend that happened that you really want to shine a light on? I guess just the Van Basten goal from Hugo Rodallega.
He's just resembling to Burak Yılmaz's that Trabzon goal we just talk about. Like it just went in from the keeper, just above him and just dipped it in.
Yeah, the Trabzon goal, do you mean the one he scored against Fenerbahçe? Because that was like a cross from...
Yeah, but it's from the same angle, same distance kind of stuff,
The Burak goal against Fenerbahçe, which we're talking about now in 2010, I think.
Yes.
It reminds me more of the John Caro goal for Valencia in the Champions League. But I don't even remember who that was against. But that was also kind of like a cross that went in at the near post. But yeah.
Anyway. Well, there you go. I don't know if he intended to shoot down there as well.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about that relegation zone, guys, because that is getting really, really exciting right now. The bottom teams all picking up a lot of wins suddenly, even Kayserispor. And 7 teams really in the mix for relegation at the moment. Malatyaspor have been in dreadful form. They only have their really good goal-scoring record in the first half of the season to thank for not being in that bottom 3 right now. But the way it's looking at the moment, I can't see them staying out of there for much longer. I think next week, perhaps already they could be dropping down into the bottom 3. And then Konyaspor, who probably were on similar poor form, they now have an important win. What do you guys think? How do you guys think this is going to end? Who's going to climb out of that relegation zone and who's going to drop into it? Umut, who do you see going down this season?
Kayserispor for sure.
Really? Even with their recent wins?
I think so, because it's hard to maintain. I've been thinking they've been in a rise recently, but all the leagues gonna be postponed with probably, and I think they'll just lose the momentum at the end. And I don't know about Konyaspor because I don't rate Bülent Korkmaz as a coach. I have all the respect to him as a player, but as a coach, I don't think he's quality. And I can say Konyaspor is in a danger zone, but I can't say anything clearly because all these 6 teams in the radar, like Kasımpaşa, Konya, Yeni Malatya, Rize, Ankaragücü, and Kayserispor, have the same chance of relegation. So they're all on the edge.
Yeah. What do you think, Jakub? Who do you see going down for sure?
I mean, the first thought would be Kayserispor, but as you said, I kind of like how they are playing the last couple of days, a couple of weeks. I want to say Rize. I really thought that with Ünal Karaman going to Rize, that they were going to play a lot better. They kind of are like the revelation of the league, in my opinion, even though they are like but it doesn't seem that they are doing that well, actually. So it's going to be a hard battle, and I think that this season, for all its controversial bullshit that happens every week, and all the all the presidents going on TV and talking about stuff, it might have been like one of the most enjoyable and like battle in recent years. With the top 4 being there. And the relegation zone being so nice to watch. What I do know is it's going to be fun to see who drops and who stays up. It's annoying to see that both Unal and Mustafa Reşit Akçay are in the relegation zone. But let's hope that whoever deserves to stay up stays up.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good note to end that point on. Let's quickly head over to the fixtures for the next match day 27. Fenerbahce takes on Kayserispor. Gaziantep take on Ankaragücü, so that's interesting for sure. Gaziantep could definitely, with a win there, secure their position in the league next season. Malatyaspor takes on Kasımpaşa, another interesting match for sure, with major relegation implications there. Sivasspor will take on Denizlispor. Beşiktaş will take on Antalyaspor, who definitely not a match to sleep on either, given the form Antalyaspor are in, and given the fact that Beşiktaş, everyone of course, will be playing without a home crowd, so that could definitely, I wouldn't be surprised if Antalyaspor pull off an upset there. Gençlerbirliği will take on Konyaspor. Rizespor host Galatasaray, and Rize of course starved for a win. Başakşehir takes on Alanyaspor, which is an interesting match as well. Alanyaspor will want to get a result there for their chances at European football next season. And then finally Göztepe host Trabzonspor. So that's the fixtures for matchday 27. So let's end that part there, guys. Let's talk a little bit about the coronavirus still, because of course, as we had talked about earlier, all the leagues across Europe have been paused, but Turkey is still going, and as we know, for now it will continue to go. Ağaoğlu as well, the Trabzonspor president, after the match, very funnily in a way, with a mask on, said that the league should continue. I thought that was pretty hilarious, But should the players play maybe with some mouth masks on too then? But no, will the league continue, or do you expect it to be paused sooner or later? Jakub, let's get your opinion first on this.
I think that as long as there is not an active player in Turkey that has the virus, the TFF is just going to act like the three monkeys and just ignore anything and everything. Because not to be grim, the last couple of days I have been following it more, and I've been starting to think that it's actually more serious than it is.
Yeah.
And the health minister in Turkey just announced today that there are like 50 more people that have the virus in Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have like a doomsday scenario in your head with stuff like this. And my mind immediately goes to places like Italy and how it developed there,
mm-hmm.
and how it might have influenced the way that life is going to be in the Netherlands. So, I honestly, you could put a gun to my head and ask me for a reasonable reason to keep the matches being played, and I probably would just not come up with anything, because I really just can't see like anything at all. The teams can't have any fans, so they lose out on revenue.
Yeah.
The players aren't happy, so that makes some horrible games, as Trabzonspor, Başakşehir, and Galatasaray Beşiktaş have shown us this last weekend.
Yeah.
And the only thing that you're going to do is just scare people a shit ton more. So I just can't believe it. I'm used to some stupid stuff from the federation, but this one is starting to take the cake.
Mm-hmm. Umut, what do you think? Do you think the league will continue, or do you think in 1 or 2 weeks they will have to at least postpone?
I think they'll just postpone it tomorrow, because all the games just ended and there's no games to play for the week. So I think they just continued it because one team played on Friday. So they continued it so that it will be fair justice for the other teams as well, because one already been played. So you just can't end a week without majority of the teams hadn't been playing the game. So but I still think the postponing is still a bit late, and we've seen how I don't want to give the example of Premier League because I don't think what the hell English government is doing right now. The UK government and Boris Johnson they just want the virus to spread out and the people to develop an immunity against it. But I don't think that way. And so Premier League is a bad example, but how we've seen how Serie A and La Liga, for example, being postponed, and Bundesliga as well. The 5 big leagues have been postponed, but we still have Super League running for the week. So I think we should be dealing with this case quite a bit earlier, but UEFA hadn't even intervened for our decisions as well. And they played the Başakşehir Copenhagen game with full crowd. And
can you speak a little bit further from your microphone, by the way?
Yeah.
You're popping a lot.
Yeah. So UEFA also acted quite late in the end as well because they played the Başakşehir and Copenhagen game quite
Still doing it.
How?
You're popping. You're doing a lot.
Oh, I didn't know about it.
Just move the microphone a little bit further from your mouth.
Okay. And is it better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, so they played the Başakşehir game with crowd as they acted a little late, and so at that day, Mustafa Cengiz fairly asked the TFF to play this game with the crowd because he witnessed the Başakşehir game is still running with a crowd. So it will be fair, but as the TFF persisted and about calling the game with the crowd, they suddenly changed their idea and decision to make it without the crowd, without the stand. So with the fair point and fair enough, Mustafa Cengiz opposed to that idea and requested the game to be postponed. But all the Beşiktaş fans were just saying that Galatasaray are crying because they are afraid of us, because they think they'll lose it without the fans, and etc. And I can't handle it because there's a, obvious disadvantage, because a league is a two-legged.
Yeah, for sure.
Leg. So at the first leg, we go to Vodafone Park with a full crowd against us to play that hard game and lose. And at the end, in the second game, it was the fair point to have the advantage on our side. And not to mention the income from the game, the
gate receipts, yeah.
You can call it the gate receipt, the store sales, or the, the casual sales in the stadium. Just you can call it that, and that's the revenue of the game. And Mustafa Cengiz fairly is told that we want the game as with the spectators, so that it will be fair to us. But Beşiktaş somehow opposed to that idea. But at the end, we saw the exact same fans just going to the Ümraniye spor tesisleri and just sending the team to the game with a massive crowd.
Mm-hmm. But you can't blame Beşiktaş for the match being played without
fans.
Huh?
Yeah, that's the stupid decisions taken by the TFF, and
it's a stupid decision not to postpone the league, but it's not a stupid decision to play without fans. I think you have to. If you're going to continue, then that is the only responsible way you can do it. Somewhat responsible. Obviously, the best decision would have been postpone the league.
By making a point, Mustafa Cengiz also told that he has told all the personnel to disinfect all the areas of the stadium and invited all the fans to the game. But
that's ridiculous.
Also, it hit me as well. I was planning to go to this game from England, and by that thing happened the decision change on Friday. I had to change my ticket. I don't know what will happen to the game to people who are living in England, are they gonna be taken to Turkey? Are they gonna be blocked by
Are they going to be put in
in a quarantine
or something?
Yeah.
But okay, let's move on because we've been going off track here. So what do you guys expect if the league gets ended, for example, like Umut said, tomorrow? What has to happen? Is it a postponement? Is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Do we just end the season? What do we do if we end the season? Do we declare a champion? Do we not declare a champion? What should be done? Jakub, let's get your opinion on this first.
I honestly don't know, because whatever I'll say will sound like I'm biased in a way. I probably am. I'm pretty sure that everyone is. I really don't know. Just postpone it, I think. As I said, I used to think that it wasn't like a big issue, but then the prime minister went on TV and said like, okay, you're all going to get it, and that made me a little bit anxious. I really don't know. I think that the TFF is at the moment is in a between a rock and a hard place. The easy decision would be to just postpone it, and then in a month or whatever, if you look and the issue is still as large as it is, you just say, okay, we're just screw this season. We'll be starting next year. Nobody is champion. I know that's like a kick to the balls for Trabzonspor fans, because we're finally doing well and the league is not counting towards anything. But I truly think that the most the smart decision would be to just postpone the league, and after the postponement, to keep a watch on the public and whatever the health minister says and what happens in the world. And depending on what happens and how the virus develops and develops in Turkey and around the world, you decide to either cancel everything, or if it's just a fad and we find like a cure between now and like a month and everything is okay, in 2 months you just go ahead and restart it.
What about you, Umut? What do you think in this situation, in these different situations? Continuing, postponing, who should declare a champion, not declare a champion?
No, man, that's that's never the case, because we still have like around 8 weeks to go, so that could change everything, and we just have 3 points differences between the first one and the third one, so that would be quite unfair, because there's a game between them as well,
Yeah, for sure.
And so that would be quite unfair, and I'm quite angry about how the things get screwed up when Liverpool is just about to grab the title.
Yeah,
it's just a doomsday.
I heard a good joke about it. The two things that can stop Liverpool from winning a title: a deadly virus and Dembaba.
Or Gerrard. Because Gerrard
slipped and gave it to Dembaba. Yeah.
He doesn't have any title.
But in England, I think you can. I mean, in England, if they would stop the league, I think there's an obvious de facto decision: Liverpool champions. There's no sane person could object to that. In Turkey, like you said,
there's a 20-point difference.
Yeah, exactly. and in Turkey, you have two teams on level points.
Yeah.
And you have a team just 3 points behind. So you can't say, okay, look, we're gonna finish it here.
And
we're gonna make,
Also, I have to mention that in the Championship of England, there's Leeds United to be the champions with Marcelo Bielsa, and he had the chances to just go to the Premier League, but similar to how Liverpool happened, it's just happened to Leeds United as well.
And excuse me. There's also one thing that came out. DHA floated the rumor that there might be a playoff being played between the top 7.
I don't think so, because
that was debunked, though.
It's
but
not. Yeah, it's not quite ideal to change the rules while the game is running. You know.
Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. Of course. Plus, I mean, if you look at it, it's not. I think if you're, let's say you do a playoff, if you are forced to do that, then I think you have to go for the teams that are within reason realistic title contenders. And then I think you look at the top 4. Because the top 4 are separated by 4 points. If you go to number 5, which is Besiktas, that's already 9 points back. I think 9 points in 8 match days, okay, it's definitely doable, but it's not a likely scenario. The likelihood of that is not high. And number 7, Fenerbahce, who are 13 points back. Don't think that's a very likely scenario either. I tweeted about this on Twitter, of course, and I had a Fenerbahce fan tell me, "Well, everyone who still has a mathematical chance should be in a playoff." I said, "Okay, so then up to number 10 has to be in it, because they are, up to Denizlispor still have a chance to win the league, mathematically speaking." And he said, "Yeah, of course, Fenerbahce did it in 2010-11. They were 11 points back or 13 points back, and they won the title. Of course, yeah, 17 games. A little bit of stuff on the side, and I mean, that's different. I mean, this is 8 games. If you're going to go to something like that, I think you have to be realistic and just look. Okay, these teams still have a realistic chance. Let's let them do it between those two. Or so. I don't think that's an ideal scenario, obviously, but yeah, it's a crazy world, really, where we live in, and right now everything seems nothing is clear right now. Like Umut said, maybe tomorrow they declare the league to be postponed. Do you really expect them to do that, though, Umut?
Yeah, because I think they'll just waiting for the match days to end, so there will be no regard, no thing to block them in this regard, because
because of the match day 21 match that had to be played still, and now of course everyone is on 26 matches, and maybe they can say, okay, look, we're gonna put a stop in it, we're gonna pull the plug for a bit here, or we're just gonna put it in sleep mode, so to speak. Awkward silence.
I mean, you have like a lot of footballers. I've seen statements from Selçuk Şahin. I've seen statements from Olcan, that doesn't even play football, but whatever.
He likes to chime his light, Olcan.
Yeah, so nobody's happy with it. Of course, you have the thing with Mikel, Obi Mikel, and then you even had like Falcao saying on Obi Mikel's post that he was right, and that football shouldn't have been played at all. So the league's stance is pretty accurate, pretty defined. They don't want to play. I just really don't understand the reasoning between the reasoning in the TFF to really play the games. I don't even think it's a monetary issue. Some people were saying stuff like, okay, they're going if they don't postpone the league, they're going to show the matches free of charge, which obviously doesn't happen. And I don't know, maybe because with all the deaths and all the people that caught it today, maybe that pushes them over the edge. It could be that what Umut said, that they just wanted to play this match week and afterwards do it. But I really don't have any trust in the TFF to do any reasonable thing.
Yeah, I guess I'll just have to hurry up and put this episode online so that tomorrow is tomorrow. Anyway, I think we spoke about pretty much everything we had to cover. It's been a weird episode, and it's a weird time, of course. Don't forget to stock up on plenty of toilet paper, people. Is it the case with you guys in your local supermarkets that the toilet paper aisle is just plundered?
Yeah, like when I was in Aldi in Hatfield, uh, the all the hygienic items were just
Yeah,
gone,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah. 2 days
it,
straight here, no toilet paper in the stores.
yeah, like
I
you can just use your money to do
yeah,
the job.
yeah, yeah. If you have cash, I mean, I don't even carry cash. I never carry cash, so
You can
I mean,
use you can just swipe
I'm
your credit card.
yeah,
I'm happy that my mom is a person, that already bought like a shitload of things before anything happens. That's just the way she is. So
yeah,
we already had a lot of stuff, and I remember buying. She went to Turkey and came back like 2 or 3 months ago, and there was like toilet paper on sale. So I told her like, maybe we will need this stuff. So we have like 80 rolls or something, enough to get us through the
yeah.
following years.
It's weird though that people are hamstring toilet paper. I feel like I can get food. I understand that too. I get that. But toilet paper, really? I mean, there's people with carts full of toilet paper, like like you said, like a year supply. Where do you put all that toilet paper?
I mean, it's pretty much like people see other people doing it, and they're like, "Oh, so they do it, so I must do
Yeah,
it," because it must have a reason why people are going apeshit over it.
yeah.
Um,
Because some now of course you start a vicious cycle because now everyone is like, oh shit, there's no toilet paper. 2 days, 3 days in a row, and then when there is toilet paper, they're just gonna take all the crap.
I mean, I
Pun
went to the
intended.
store. I take a walk these days and go like look at different stores and how they look and what the situation is, and like the local grocer is pretty much empty. There are no fruits and vegetables because the government shut down all the open markets, so you can't get it on the market. You have to go to the stores. People are just buying pretty much everything. I can't find any milk. I can't find any
Hmm.
soap. I can't
Yeah.
find any, anything. And it's one kind. It's funny, but the other way, I for some reason keep thinking of the Simon Pegg movie, Shaun of the Dead. For whatever reason, every time I
Yeah.
go into a into a supermarket. So let's hope it just
Yeah, yeah,
blows
yeah, yeah,
over.
yeah. It's very much like those zombie movies, like how the outbreak starts, Fear the Walking Dead, that kind of stuff. 28 days later, uh, yeah. Imagine if this was a zombie virus. Dear God, I don't even have a shotgun.
Does
Anyway,
anyone in Europe have a shotgun though?
I don't know. I don't think so. If we were in the U.S., we could just go to our neighbors and pray it from their cold dead hands. Or well, I guess if they were zombies, then we could just. Anyway, going a little off track here. Anyway, people, we really want you to stay safe. Please don't be because seeing this kind of stuff too, which really pisses me off, is like young people going, oh, they're closing the bars tomorrow, so tonight we're just gonna have a big ass party and stuff like that. And like here in Belgium, we had, oh, you know what, they're closing the restaurants, so we'll just all go to Holland
You
and go to the
fuckers.
restaurants there. Yeah, which is retarded because, of course, you idiots in Holland, you're not even quarantining, so you're just spreading it like wildfire.
Yeah, you're bringing the dumbness over here.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, you know what? I mean, sometimes I can really understand why the Dutch call the Belgians dumb. We definitely have our fair share of those. But yeah, no, for those of you listening to this, of course, don't take any unnecessary risks. Think of your parents, think of your grandparents. You may not become very ill, but you don't want to lose a loved one too early. That's one of the worst, it's probably the worst thing that could ever happen in a person's life, which we all have to face. At some point, we will lose our loved ones. Well, damn, this is taking a grim turn. But, don't let it not happen too early, and we can avoid that by just respecting what the authorities are asking us to do. Don't go out unless you have to. Go to the store, get food, keep distance from people, just stay like 1 or 2 meters away from random folks. Yeah, and just if you have the chance to stay at home, stay at home. Play FIFA, play Call of Duty, play, I don't know, go to YouPorn or RedTube or whatever you want to do. Just don't go outside, congregating with 30 other people. You can go into your garden, you can go walk your dog, or just keep to yourself. This one of these memes has been going around, like, our grandparents had to fight in a war, all you have to do is stay at home and sit on your ass, or something like that. I think it's funny, but it's a fair point. It's not too much to ask, I think, to just stay indoors if possible, or stay at home for a little while. And I know we're not a PSA, but anyway, I wish you all the best of health, and I hope everyone gets through this without having to say goodbye to anyone dear to them too soon. So on that note, all the best. Stay healthy.
Stay home. Stay home.
Let's hope that we have something to talk about next week. Love you guys. Take care.
Take care.